I've been a disciple of Swami Vishnu-devananda for almost 30 years, and I thought I would put out this DVD as we have a lot of new items to talk about, and these are actually being mailed out to the world. And the first thing I'd like you to be aware of is Swami Vishnu asked Dr. Harish Chandran from Kerala, Tamil Nadu in South India to come to the West, and he didn't do it. He asked him 3 times, and his son said he was kind of forceful in trying to get him to go to the West, and he didn't. And I was in a medicine clinic this year in South India. They take 4 Westerners, and I was one of them. And his family's been doing medicine 900 years. And his son's name is Dr. Raghu. And what I have is I've brought my medicines today to show you, and this is a clinic that anybody can go to. And the medicine, the Siddha Vaidya medicine in South India is 17,000 years old, and even the massage that they do, they watch the cow lick the calf, and that's how they figured out the massage techniques for their system. 3 meals a day. I lost 21 pounds. The other doctor is Dr. Raj, and he is an orthopedic surgeon, and he worked in the trauma wards. Excuse me, he's a surgeon. He worked in the trauma wards in the Maldives. They have 240 islands, and he did all the surgeries. And I think he did that 6 years. He learned this medicine, started in it. Then he went to allopathy, Western medicine as we know it, to be a surgeon, and did that. And then he got hurt in his lower back, and he went back to Harish Chandran and learned the Siddha medicine. So when you go there, you are looking at Raghu, whose family's been doing it 900 years, and Dr. Raj, who's an orthopedic surgeon. They use blood work, they use sonograms because it's a lot faster. And the diet's made up for you, it's vegetarian. And their newest property is down by the lake, and I've been there and it's beautiful. I've actually stayed there, and I spent 108 days in the clinic, and I actually had a month of seclusion. Get dressed, get your meals, and in this system you're not allowed exercise. The idea is to reset the body, and the body, if it doesn't do any activity, atrophy, no, but it resets itself. And I was taking 7 medicines a day, and what I brought here with me are the medicines off to my side here, and there's I think I have 8 medicines to take, and then there's a body oil that they make, which is right here. And I asked him the first time he gave me a medicine to take, I said, "What's in it?" He said, "Herbs." I said, "Well, what kind of herbs?" And he said, "Well, that medicine has 48 herbs in it." So after I got that, I never asked again. And I know that they don't make the medicine up until they see you. And so like Dr. Raghu comes on Monday and Dr. Raj comes on Tuesday, and they alternate. So if you need a medicine, they'll figure it out Monday. And then Raghu, his mother's I think 73, she might be 74 now, and she makes the medicines, or he can make it. And they come the next day, or excuse me, they come the day after, and they give you your medicine, and you start with that. And if it's too much, or it makes you sick, or you have a reaction, they can back it off. And I went over there for liver detoxes. I made chemicals for DuPont. And what they did with me is I would get up at 1:30 in the morning and urinate like 7 or 8 times. And I didn't drink any extra fluids, and it was just basically getting a detox. It started out to be the liver, and then he said, "We'll just do all the internal organs," and that's what they did. And then maybe 10 days into this, I said, "Are you unwinding a prostate problem, Ray?" He said, "No, that's your kidneys do more filtering in the middle of the night than they do during the day, so that's when we wanted the medicine to work." And that's what we did. And after about 12 days, I could smell the chemicals that I made. They came out I had purple pimples, green pimples. I had moles on my body. I had something that looked like a pimple, 3 pimples on my head, and they've gone away. And so that's what the detox did. So I very impressed with their medicine, about how they do things, and actually do their body treatments, some of them in the West, and that's how I met them. And I was the only one that answered they put an ad in the massage magazine to teach class, and they used to teach week-long classes in California. And so I went to a couple of those. I think I've had 3 of those, and very, very good. And they have a massage that they do just on athletes. And if you go to Nair Dam, you'll see they have the martial artists. They'll do a show for you. And those people that do that martial art, they have to have 2 massages. The advanced people have to have 2 massages a week, and the beginners have to have them once a week if they want to practice. So they have the killing art, and then they also have to have the healing art with it. And actually, Dr. Regu, they had to learn the martial arts when they were teenagers, I think it was. So we're going to talk today about Swami Shivananda, Swami Vishnu-devananda, who I met in 1981, and I met Bharat Gujara. He had a center in Delaware for 35 years, and he's still practicing. He has just written a book, which we have here. I've sent 200 of these over across the world, and if you see that this is his book, and if you go to, there's 2 chapters in it where he talks about the students that knew, that practice yoga, and that knew Swami Vishnu-devananda. You know Gayatri, that's up in Boston. She was with Swami Vishnu the last 3 years of his life. He had come to Wilmington to give us a class at the yoga center, Swami Vishnu did, and he asked her to come to take TTC and Valmer and come to Canada. So she did that, and she was actually graduated from college, and she took 3 years off, and I think she went to India with him 6 times. And that's there, and she was in my class. I had a university class there, and that's how she got into all this. And she knows Bharat, and she's his disciple in there. So we've all started, this is all from Delaware that we've done this. So Bharat has that book that I just showed. He has another book on Hinduism that's going to be available this week. And he's going to print 1 more on meditation. And Bharat has 20 patents, and his last patent was spandex. And when he got into yoga, his DuPont, where he works, wanted to have him to do a project. So his test was, he asked Shivananda, he prayed to him, he says, if you're really who you say you are, help me. So he got a message to go down to the library, to go here, to go there, and all this is detailed in the book. But he didn't get any messages for 2 hours, and then he started to go here, go there, and I think at the end of the day, when it was all said and done, I think he had either 4 or 5 patents, and his last patent was spandex, to work with that. And he did all that in the afternoon, but his guru always likes a challenge. So that was Bharat's, and that's everything that I talk about now that Bharat had. He wrote it in that book, and I think it's 395 pages. His next book is over 440 pages. So we'll put some links on at the end of this film, and you can click on them and find out. The other people I want to talk about is Lily Roddy, who is an astrologer, lilyroddy.com, and Shivananda said you can use astrology to ward off the effects of evil planets. I use her every 6 months. I've known her for 3 years, and I just get a reading. If you're in the United States or Canada, you can get it over the phone, and then she makes a CD of it, and she can send it to you, or if you're overseas, she can just make the CD up and send it to you. You can get a hold of her off of the links. There's another person that's called Laura Allard, and she's in Boulder, Colorado. She's actually an Iyengar teacher. She's very good, but what she does, she has these little mannequins. They're 18 inches and they're wood, and you build the muscles with clay on the body, and then you do the asanas. And the Pilates people are very much interested in her work, and the yoga people. She knows the body inside and out, and she's a practicing yogini, and she can tell you and show you, and she is beautiful. The other person I have to talk about is Robert Bustani, who was from Houston, and he was a physicist. He's a grandfather. He was married and had, I think, 4 children, and he's been practicing, or he's been a yoga teacher 45 years, and Robert is now touring in Japan. He tours in Europe. So beyoga.com, that's another link. Look him up and see if you can get him to come to your center or to your ashram and teach. and I think he's going to be in France over this summer. In June 25th, I fly into London, and I will be staff at Orléans in France at our ashram, and then I will make my way over to Austria and to the other Shivananda Yoga centers in Europe. I'm actually retired from DuPont, and this is why we got time to do everything that we have to do. Okay, the other thing that I have to tell you about is if you go up to Rishikesh, you can get online. These are all the CD audios from Swami Shivananda. Swami Vishnu-devananda is up there in Rishikesh. You can go to Divine Life Society, and you can pay with a credit card. You can have all that stuff. They have movies. They have audio CDs. Swami Chidananda has a bunch of CDs. They have 168 books for sale. You can get all that. They have life-size pictures of Shivananda, and you can get on the website and find all that. Behind me to the right, you can see this picture. This is 23 inches of Master Shivananda, and we have to the other side 23 inches of Swami Vishnu-devananda. They have been put all over the world. I think we've done 180 pictures total, and they're in all the ashrams, all the yoga centers. They were mailed to all the centers. Okay. Off to the side of me, they have the Krishna deity. That is a gift for Orléans. I will bring that to France, or I'll mail it this week, and so they can have that. So if you see that show up in the mail, you know where it came from. Okay. The other piece of people I want to talk about is Swami Sahajananda, who I lived with for 4 months in South Africa. And when he went to the Rishikesh, when he went to see Shivananda, he told Shivananda, he says, I don't like the people, I don't like the food, I don't like where I stay. And so Shivananda says, well, you don't like anything. He says, that's right. And he sent him back to South Africa. He said, you can start a Divine Life Society in South Africa. And for years and years and years, he didn't do anything, and then he did. And when I met him in 1988, I went over to see the books because I sold the books or gave the books away. And some of the books I have here, one of them, they both say Sahajananda, Swami Sahajananda, Swami Vishnu-devananda. It's in the Bhagavatam scriptures that at this time women will begin to run the universe. And what they did in South Africa, he pulled the things from ideas from the scriptures and put it in. It's called Sri Dharma. If you ever can get a hold of this, especially all the women. When I taught class in the 80s, I gave this to everybody, or I think I sold it to them. And then they complained about it. But they do say in the preface, the first couple pages, it's heavy. We just wanted to write it down. They complained about the book. I said, well, I'll buy it back from you. They said, no, we'll keep ours. So that's the idea. Swami Sahajananda just put this out. He just died a few months ago. And right before he died, this was his last book. It's called Shivananda in Pictures. And he pressed these people really hard to get this done. There's pictures of Shivananda in it. There's his words. And the beauty of Swami Sahajananda is it was all about Shivananda, and he printed books. And so you can go online and find them and get that. And this is a picture of him. They really don't allow his picture to be shown, but they gave this to me. And I got this from him in the organization in 1988. The only time I ever saw him in a picture is after he died. He did write one book. It's a little pamphlet, and it's I think it's called Faith and Surrender. And if you had to go see him, he'd ask you to read that 3 times before you went and came and saw him. And I actually spent 4 months over there with him, working with him, right alongside with him, and we'll talk about that. The first thing I have to do, the most important thing why I'm here today, which is kind of interesting, I have 13 gigs of lectures, kirtans, satsangs, everything from the 80s. And we've got that, and I've remastered it, redigitized it, cleaned it up, and it's going to be a 3 DVD set. They're actually getting printed as we speak. And what I did was I archived everything that was written down. So this is the book. I'm going to put this on a website, and it's minute by minute what's in the lectures, what he talked about. And then what I have is I also have a spreadsheet which is written where he talks, when Vishnu-devananda talks about himself, when he talks about Shivananda, where he talked about Jesus, where he talked about staff or swamis, and where he talked about women, children, or kids. And you would just go to track number 3, minute 35, 11 seconds in, and Swami Vishnu's talking about himself. So you'll have those two things. They'll be on a website. And then also what I have here, which you can see, is it's a 3 DVD set. And Swami Vishnu, when he bought the organization, when he got working with crystals and he had a problem of people are chanting, I think there's 81 tracks there where he's chanting or people are chanting. Sunday night prayers, Shanti mantras, mantras where he just spoke himself when he took off and he did his thing. And he went around the world 7 times. So he's not here. I think he passed away in 1993, but we could always bring him back to life. So that's all in Shivananda's order. And then what we also have here, which I have 2 of these, they've been cutting these up. I'm going to bring this to France, but I have a bunch of these, and we just cut them up and give pieces of his dhoti to people that would want them. When I met Bharat, I got out of the military. I was a paratrooper in the infantry. I was in the 82nd. I got out. I thought, wow. It was 16,000 guys, and they had 12 women, and we see the 12 women twice a year. So what I thought to do, I need to get into something and get my social life back. So I took a yoga class at the University of Delaware. It was Bharat's class. And I actually ended up, when I went to Delaware, I call it the East West Yoga Club, and that was the start of having yoga classes at the university. And that's how I met Gayatri, who's from Boston, who served Swami Vishnu in the early 90s. That class, we used to feed everybody once a semester. We'd have 65 people at the house. Everybody take 2 plates of food, all vegetarian. And then what I did was I had the class and could give out books and different things. And then the dean of the college, the physical education, she took Bharat's class, and when she got to be in charge of the physical education department, she made it a 1-credit course. And it's been, that was probably 1982, 83 that started. And 25 years later, I took a yoga class and I came back to the town I was raised in, and after India. And some of the people in the class were from the University of Delaware's class. So now they have 2 classes, so 25 years later, it's twice as big as it was before. And so that's kind of neat. Bharat had a yoga center, same place. He taught 3 classes a week for 35 years. And he's the one that printed the books that we have now. And he met Swami Vishnu-devananda in 1965. Amrit Desai said, get 10 people together and I'll teach postures or asanas or hatha yoga. So Bharat really didn't want to do it, but he was the 10th person, so they had their class. And one of the people in the class said, you should go to Canada. There's a real live Swami over there, and he's in India. So Bharat went up there the next summer. And then Rupal, his wife, who passed away in 1984 at age 50, she went. And when she went to the ashram, the yoga camp in Valmoran, she didn't want to leave. And they had an argument, and it was like, I got a job, I got a house. She says, I don't care, I'm not leaving. So they had a long, long talk, and finally she did leave. So Bharat was saying that Swamiji's love hit her, and she just wanted to go up there and serve. Put a cassette recorder from a Swamiji 5 times. The last time I recorded him was 1989 at the ranch, July 4th. And actually he talks about the Durga installation in California, and that's when they installed I think the Durga deity, and I was out there at the ranch. I think it was July 1989 we had that. The one in California that they they installed it. They tied Durga down on a palanquin, and they were carrying her, and she fell off. And then Swamiji got the idea that night that she came to him and says, who are you to tie me up? I have the whole world tied up. Who are you to tie me up? So we have it's in Grass Valley, and he said that was his favorite ashram because it was quiet. So then Swamiji would come out in TTC. He would come out. He had the 2 o'clock class. He did teach us one asana class somewhere along the way. I remember that, and he was real quiet. He didn't say a whole lot. And maybe that's because everybody knew what to do, but it's supposed to be meditative. You put somebody in headstand, and you just let them stay. You don't need to coach them, correct them. Once you make the corrections, once they know the posture, boom, you let them do it. Keep quiet. And Ruby Blue, she was there. She started the ranch. She was there when Swami Vishnu was teaching. And there's a funny story. We went to, she was teaching asana class. Swami Vishnu was teaching at the other platform. And he came over to make some corrections or this or that. And she was a little older than him. She says, put her hand up, like, no, don't say anything. She says, I'm teaching this class here. You need to go back over there and teach that class over there. I'll take care of all this over here. And he went back. And the older women around Swamiji, like her, he would listen to them. He would listen to Bharat. Bharat when he got into crystals and got really sideways with that thing, it got to be a big mess, and it really cut the organization in half. And we have that on the DVDs where he talks about it, that Bharat went in there and said, this isn't right. And he didn't listen, and of course he went out and did what he did. And it was the worst thing he ever did because it really hurt him. But he came with a 10 rupee note. He came from India, and Shivananda rolled up his hand, put it in his hand, and said, everything you need to do my work is in those rupees. And it's still going on today. And that's kind of neat. Swami Vishnu came up to me. He was at the... he was walking back to Samadhi Estates, and I was over there weeding. And I said, I really like it here. And he came over to talk to me, but I only had like 5 or 6 minutes, and then I had to go to class. So he was going to socialize or talk and this and that. And I just put my hand up. I says, I need to get this weeding done so I can go to class and not be late. And he said, oh, thanks a lot. And he didn't have to bother with me to talk to me, and I could get my job done. So. You'll hear that he yelled at a lot of people, but I'm saying this, that if Nilakanta, who's around, and Chandra, who's around, I asked their brother, Kedarnath, I said, this Swami Vishnu, what's he like when I first got there? He said, well, you treat him like a man, he'll treat you like a man. I never forgot that. And he wanted things done. Like one woman, she got into the ice cream, one of those big tubs, just with a spoon on her own and started eating it. He told her, you know what? That's for everybody, and that's not blessed, it's not honored in your eating. He says, you can take that out, you can have it, it's yours. And of course, then he told everybody that night about it. But, you know, if he did one thing wrong, he did too much. And he wanted so much to have the yoga as we know it around the world. And when I met Bharat, I went to satsang a couple months after we had the Hatha yoga class. And there were 6 people there. And Bharat, this is maybe it was 1980. Bharat says one day everybody's going to do yoga. And Time magazine 2 years ago had a story, and they said 27 million people in the United States are doing some kind of yoga. So it happened. And now you go to Deo Dam. There's 27 TTCs taught around the world from the organization. And Swami Mahadev said they're not going to stop coming. They all want different answers, so they're looking at yoga. And it's beautiful when everybody's chanting in Deo Dam. And when you teach an asana class there, they say the birds come up to see the class. And if you ever film that class, there's 1 million birds up there. I hadn't taught in 20 years. And they came back and they said, there's a lot of, my name is Gopal, but they have a lot of Indians that are at the ashram as staff. And I just thought, well, Gopal's going to teach. I didn't think anything more about it. And I was coaching the TTC class, the 4 o'clock class, and I went up to go to the bathroom, and somebody says, hey, you're teaching class. I looked down, I said, I didn't know it was the American, it was me. I said, I haven't taught in 20 years. So we went to Swami Shiva-devananda, real nice guy. And I says, yeah, I'll teach this thing, it's not a problem. I haven't done it in 20 years, but I'll do it. And I said, Shivananda, I said, Vishnu-devananda, I said, this is your class, you teach it. When to do the breathing, when to do this, when to do that, or how many to do. I know the sequence, and I do the sequence, and so, yes. Did it, and The last class I taught had 73 people in it, and it was full, and people liked it. I make them work, so if they did not like to work and they saw me teaching, they'd go down to the beginner's class, and that's okay. But Swami Vishnu-devananda said, you stay in headstand 7 minutes just to get the benefit. One time we had him, he'd come and give an afternoon lecture, and he was under a tree, and we have it on the DVD program in that he's talking about the responsibilities of a father. And there was a little baby there, and he's asking him, who do you like better, and this and that. And he's talking about a child that doesn't have a father and how much of a problem that is for the child's mind and everything. Everything that man said except nuclear war has come true. All the health issues, everything. It was like 100 years ahead of his time to have these lectures. These lectures that we're going to give them out to the world. We're going to make, we've done 2,000 CDs, DVDs just as a test of lectures and pictures and everything, and we put them out. We'll end up, after 2 weeks from now, we'll put 5,000 out into the world. How's that sound? And we'll send them to the different centers, and you can ask and get a copy. If you get a copy, you make a copy for safety to hold them, and then make another copy and give them to somebody else. And the people that have they're coming out of the woodwork now. The people that knew Swami Vishnu-devananda, like Chandra in Washington, D.C., he spent 5 years in the organization up at Valmoran. And what's really interesting is Ruby Blue, who's 89, she's on her last legs now. We went to the hospital to see her. She couldn't talk to us. She couldn't see us. She really got everybody started. She got Chandra Nilakanta started in the 70s after Vietnam, or maybe the late 60s after Vietnam. They went to an asana class. And we went there. The family didn't really want us to be there, but we got there when they weren't there, all Shivananda's grace. We even had an iPod that had all this music and everything on it. And the Sunday night prayers, we played them and sang to them, and Ruby Blue was on them. And then we played the Hare Rama thing where they do, is there not a nobler mission than eating, drinking, sleeping? And we played that, and Chandra goes, listen, listen. And they talked about at the time, that's what's going to happen. And this. So it's really interesting how it happened. Shanti was there from Toronto. Kartikeya was there from, she was a Swami, I think 20 years or so in the organization. She came down. Chandra was there. There's a woman, one of Ruby's friends from Hilton Hotel. She'd been to yoga camp, the Hilton. I think they own that or something. And because she was always saying, you can always go there if you want. I'll comp you. Don't worry about it. So you just kind of, okay, whatever. But we met the son who really didn't want us there. We got everything done. We were down having tea, and we met him. And we told him how much we knew him, how much we knew her. And we told him everything, and then boom. Now nobody's allowed to be there and all this other stuff. But we got in and got out, Shivananda's grace, and it was just amazing. I wish when I die I had that good of a send-off. She's still here. She does Yiddish prayers, German prayers. She doesn't know who you are, but she knew all of us. And I said her mantra to her, and she said it back. You could see the lips moving. So she was actually moving her legs like she wanted to get out of her body and greet us, but that wasn't going to happen. So that was a very nice send-off for her through the organization. We've done that. And I actually have a class, I have half of the class where she teaches the asanas, and I actually took that class, and I just put the recorder by me and recorded it. So, but Swami Vishnu-devananda, Venu, who's in Vancouver, knew him. He would roll up his sleeves, and he would just go to work with you. He'd always be around the corner. And when I knew him in the 80s, it was, I would think, the best, because he had seen everybody come and go. He was a lot later on into his life, and he'd seen everything. And he tells you in these DVDs that we have, this program, tells you what Shivananda said about it. He tells you what Shivananda did about it. He tells you what he's trying to do and what he thought about it. So really something gets answered 4 different times. And the answer might go on for 15 minutes. And Swami Vishnu said, in India, you only ask questions if you need it, and you don't argue. And he might come back to you 3 different times and answer your question. The last time I talked to him in a class, I asked him a question, and it took him 45 minutes to give out the answer, and a German girl come up to me, don't ask him any more questions, as we were leaving, so that was cute. He knew, when you go through these to archive them on a lecture, he might talk about 35 different items. And Arjuna, who's up in Canada, said he's answering 35 different questions that somebody had in their mind. And like I said, he wanted it all over the world. And what we're going to do is try to get a hold of Bren Jacobson, who flew Swamiji around, and tape this again and make another program and let him say what really happened and how he did things, and what, I think he was in his 20s when that happened. The funny story with him, he said Swami Vishnu was initiating everybody and giving spiritual names. He says they were in the back of a car together. He says, what's my name? Swami Vishnu looked at him and said, you're Swami Bren. Well, he didn't want to be a Swami, so that's kind of, he never asked again. Yeah. And Swami Vishnu would give you anything he had. Anything. And they had one of the weeks that I taped was about stress management, and he talks about doctors in the health system. There's another week that we had karma and disease, and that's all on there. And the biggest book that the organization has that I like, it's called Reincarnation and Karma and Disease, and it's 127 pages. It's got everything in it. And they put that together, the Swami Vishnu-devananda and different people, they put that thing together overnight. It's amazing. It's got scriptures in it, it's got the Puranas in it, and it's beautiful. And Swami Vishnu said the Karma and Disease, before that seminar, people were taking TTC and they graduated, and then they have the Karma and Disease. They said, if you want to stay, just $100. It's like $400 for the week or something. And he says, just $100. Just pay that. It's not a problem. And he really did care. He always needed money, and even when they bought Valmorin, three of them got together and they had to borrow $10,000. So where are you going to get it? So anyway, it happened. And I saw Rabbi Yellerman up in New York City last week. He had the satsang. He's 96. And I said, do anybody have any questions? I said, tell us a story about Swami Vishnu. And he told us that when they bought the New York City Center, they've had it 44 years. And he says, I want to buy this building. He said, well, you don't have any money. And he says, you can't buy it. You don't have any money. So they got the money, and the rabbi actually co-signed for the loan. And Raghuram was saying to Renee or Dam that they mortgaged that thing 5 different times. They refinanced it to get money, I guess. And Nilakanta, he was over there, and he was a Swami at a time in the 80s, and he ran Los Angeles. And Swami Vishnu came out against TM, but he came out in LA. He said, how much you got in the bank account? I said, $16,000. And he took that money and he made an ad in the Los Angeles Times, full-page ad about TM, because he didn't like TM, and he didn't. A lot of teachers in the early 80s, everybody had a guru back then. He did not like him. Well, he learned from Shivananda, and that was his thing. But my thing in the modern times, be nice to everybody. We all got to get along. And then one of my friends, he's a rolfer, and he's been doing TM 29 years. And I said, I hope you get another 29 years out of it. So that's kind of neat. Okay. Now I'd like to switch topics a little bit and talk about Swami Sahajananda in South Africa. I was there 4 months. When I first got there, I had tears going down my eyes. And he says, you're going to need to learn to eat hot food. Notice that they never backed the food off. They never made it milder. They just said, this is what we do. You need to do it. When I first met him, he looked into my eyes. He looked right past me, and he started smiling. And that My Life's movie just went right before him. And I had talked to him or conversed with him or did business with him for 6 years. And it took me 6 years to get over there. And I was going to go on a world tour and go to India. And he said, why don't you come over here first? And then when I did go over there, what I found out, or what he told me later on, is that organizations go in cycles. And that one, Rishikesh wasn't doing so good at that time. So go over there. There was a time when he kicked everybody out of the ashram. They do karma yoga at night or on the weekends. It's 164 different projects that he's done in his lifetime. They were doing schools, hospitals. They do trade schools. And they have nurseries for children. They had a soup kitchen. Now they have a bunch of projects, but He told me, he says, I find these people, I've scolded them, I've yelled at them, nothing works. I'm going to start working with little kids. If you go to their website, you will see what he's done for children. It's got a pool in it. It's beautiful, the arrangement that they have. And it's out into the country. They do have, the kids get 3 weeks off a year for vacation at different times of year. They get 3 weeks off. And what they do at the ashram, they have the girls for a week, then the boys for a week. Well, one of those weeks where he had the girls, I actually got, somehow I got a tape of that, and I put it on my program so you can actually hear him speak. He only would speak a couple times a year, and his thing was, if he's printing books, you go read books. You want to learn what I'm doing? Read the books. Read Shivananda. That's what he wanted. They said he talked more when I was there than any other time. People had known him 20 years. And then another person said, we haven't had somebody like you come by in, I think, 21 years. And so both of those people gave that statement out. Well, what happens when you go over there and you're around somebody like that, and I actually helped him print is what happened. They are going to clean you out. Your little circus or how you live your life is definitely not going to come into their little realm so they can get something done. He got sick. I got sick. And he came over to my room and he was standing there and he's sick as a dog. And he says, if you need anything, ask me first. And I thought, whoa, this is the head of the organization. He could have had snapped his fingers, got everything done. He said, no, you come see me. He wanted that service. And then we printed. First day in the printing press, I'm just looking. I'm not doing anything. I'm just there as a guest. I'm just looking around. The machine went crazy, and the person stopped it. I said, hey, look, there's something wrong. So he went over and he stopped it. Then when he went over to get Swami Sahajananda, Swami Sahajananda, blah, 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 he scolded him. And he looks over at me and he says, I hope you did more than just come over here to stand here. Ooh, I've been in the military, been to Catholic school, been to nuns, been to priests, all this stuff. I said, ooh, this guy's heavy. And sure enough, I looked down, and whenever they put something out, it always has to have Shivananda's face on it. And there's Shivananda, those little faces, it was folded into thirds, collated. They were all over the floor, and I could not see my ankles, and that's what he got mad about. I hope you come over here to do more than just stand here. So there was a time when I was with him by myself. And I'd look around, what kind of paper to cut and this and that, and he'd look up and just say orange. They know it forwards and backwards. You can't tell him. And then when Ruby Blue had him over to his house in '69, and when they had the little miniature Woodstock that they had up in Canada, they all came to her house. And they had the doorman at the hotel, or really it's Watergate where it was, and they were all walking by and they all had their orange robes on. She says, they're from the Marriott. Well, the colors of the Marriott, the hotel, and the restaurant business is orange. So they just kept walking through. Now they did a kirtan up there, and on one of the CBS, the news show or something, they did it from the Watergate, because they lived next to Mitchell and Martha Mitchell and all them, the ones that were in the Watergate. And they said that you can hear the kirtan on one of those programs. You could hear it. So I thought that was kind of neat. But they stayed over at her house, and she had met all of them. And Swami Sahajananda, she wanted her sons to meet a real saint. So he was working, so they said they went out to get a pair of sunglasses. And Sahajananda was the one, when he came into the room, all those elder swamis stood up. He was the serious one. And for a lot of years, he had more letters from Shivananda than anybody, because he wouldn't do what Shivananda asked him. And if Shivananda finally said, no more, this is it, I'm not going to write you anymore, get started. And he did, and it's one of if you ever go over there, it's all about Shivananda, nothing else. It's beautiful. And there was one of the Zulus who are in that area, somebody got stabbed, and he came to the ashram. And he said, tell the big chief. So we told, I was Swami Sahajananda, so we told him, and he said, we got to take care of him, and they took him to the doctors, and they got him, all that. They had a cat over there that had an abscess or something. I didn't know that much about yoga, who's who, and this and that. They took care of that cat like it was a person. I thought, well, this cat's getting a lot of attention. Then he looked at me the next day because I was very hard on animals when I was little. And so that's what, I went over there every morning and I picked up the grounds, which all the dog mess, everybody that wanted to poop, every kind of animal pooped in that place. Go over there with a shovel and clean everything up. And it wasn't easy, and I did it. And then one day he comes up and he says, we're walking around the grounds, and he said, this is all Shivananda's body. We got to take care of it. So they, Swami Vishnu he was real hard with people that would read for him. And I could read, and I thought, I never want this to happen to me. And he looked over at me and he said, the people that read for me understand the lesson. That was it. And then the other thing about Swami Sahajananda is that he was real strict, but the other side of him, he would help you out. And one of the people said, Rajan, who I worked with at the press during the day, he did something and he scolded him and he says, you have to tell me what's in your heart so I could fix it, which means like an alcoholic has to know they're an alcoholic before they can get themselves help, that kind of thing. And he interacted with everybody. And one woman came in and they gave a donation of sorts, and then they wanted him to speak to the daughter, and you could talk to him. So he'd go over, and I'm around getting papers, getting this, getting that, and they're in there having their conversation. Swami Sahajananda started laughing like Santa Claus laughed. I thought, this ought to be good. And I went over there, and he told her, he said, if I drank 19 cups of tea a day, I'd be stressed out too. One time he said to me, he said, tomorrow it's Shivananda's feast day. We'll have a big party. And says, look nice, get everything cleaned up. Because usually in a printing press you get dirty, just the way it is, the nature of the work. And I had fake glasses on. I had overalls on. I had a collared shirt. That was it. I was in, I don't know if I was 30-something at the time, and I was looking good. Come in that morning, walked by me, stopped. He goes, what do you look like that for? And he walked away. Uh-oh, I got caught. So it's like, your ego gets in it. And went into my room, changed everything. He never brought it up again, but it was just funny. We would go to the press every day at 7:15 in the morning. He'd say a little prayer to Hanuman and take off. And one day he said it and he looked back at me and says, the only thing I have is God's name. The only thing I have is God's name. And that's Sahajananda. And he passed away, and it's, I know his devotees are going to get something together for him, but this last book he had, the Shivananda in pictures, is very, 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 very good. And went to Rishikesh this summer, or this winter, and Swami Vishnu-devananda is up there, and the books all have contents in it, they're indexed. It's very, very beautiful. You can get on the internet with a credit card and buy everything. So I would ask you to, if you need to, if you want to, go and get interested on this stuff. You go out, you can go be staff somewhere and just do it and see. I've been a staff up at Valmoran, and I was able to come back and get the book proofread, which he did that, and we did that. And then I've been at Nair Dam for almost 2 months, and I've done that. Now I'm going to Orleans this summer. You know, Swami Vishnu-devananda, when people came in, he found out who they were and what they could do. Like he asked me, but I told him I worked in a funeral home as a kid, and I told him about that industry, what I knew of it. And he learned from everybody. And then he looked one time, he looked down at the stage, Ravi Shankar and this one and that one. All these people, he said, everybody has come through this yoga camp, yoga hall. Narayani and Hari Markbin, Narayani from England, they're in the Shivananda Companion. They did an asana demonstration for us in the 80s. It was beautiful, and everybody clapped. And as soon as they were done, Swami Vishnu, big smile on his face, he said, when you come to this ashram, you're going to learn to stand on your own 2 feet. There was he told somebody it didn't take roll, not a problem. So one day they come in and he said, did you take roll? He says, Gopal Krishna, who wrote the very, very nice book about Swami Vishnu-devananda in the 90s, they wrote that, says, do you take roll? He said, nah. He said, I told you to take roll. He goes, I know everybody's face. I know they're here. And then you know it, right after that, a TTC or a TTC, I think it was, comes through the crowd. How did he know? Yes. But it was an amazing time. I used to sit with Ruby Blue every day, and I gave her a place to sit, and that's how we became friends in 1981. And I could go to her, what's this, what's that, and she gave me the answers for the TTC test. Not the answers, but what's this, what's that, and like we did a review on her bed, and then I passed the test. Well, I'm still here after 30 years, so that's and Arjuna, who's up in Canada, he was in that class. Sita Ramananda, I think we were in the ATTC together. She's a Swami out in California. So, with this, we could go on with this all day, and there is a lot of stories. And we're getting the people that used to know Swami Vishnu in the 70s. I'm getting more CDs. Everything I had made into the program, they're DVDs now, but they all started out as cassettes. And it's, with all the pictures and everything I've done, it's up over $35,000. And I don't have the money, I just put it on a credit card. And now I have people coming to give me, I have 2 more sets of cassettes. And I'm just going to go buy the equipment and do it myself. And this recording studio that we're in and the people that work in this office are going to help me. And these guys know what they're doing, so they're going to show me. And together we're going to get this thing done. But it's basically, I put all this out for history, and a lot of the people that, I never met Shivananda, but I'm totally into it. And a lot of people in the Vishnu-devananda now, they've never met him, they don't know, they've never heard him talk. They have one little movie. What we have here, we have 6 movies of Shivananda that I have, that I know of in the world. I have 6 movies of Swami Vishnu that I know of in the world. We're actually going to condense some of those and put them on one big DVD. And what they have in India, we have now. And we're trying to get, this summer, I'll get some more, whatever they have in Germany from Swami Durgananda, Swami Kailas, Swami Shivadas, all those people to get that. And they're making a book of the Vishnu-devananda Upanishads in Australia, and pictures. And I have 133, about 140 pictures on my website. This is SwamiVishnuSays.com. We're going to build that this week, and with the help of the studio, and get that done. And I might have a few more. I want to teach a Carmen disease and make a video about that. And so, prayers to Ruby Blue. Hang in there. The old tiger's just got to let that lay down and roll. She's 89 now. She can't see, or she can't, but she's a fighter. And wish her best. And Ram he's in Wilmington now. He went to Johns Hopkins. He's having cancer issues now, so we pray for him. And Brad's still kicking. Brad has to do another book. And these books are almost 400 pages. And the second one, I said, where do you get information for 400 pages? He said, the next one's over 400 pages. And the book that you're looking at, they cut that thing back. So Ruby Blue was laughing at him. He needs a knee replacement. And I said, well, how's he doing? Well, he needs a knee replacement. He's not moving that fast anymore. Ruby Blue says she was 88 years old, into her 89th year. She was still doing asanas. The only one she didn't do was headstand, shoulder stand, because her balance wasn't there. And she did her sadhana. You could not talk to her during the day, and she could tolerate anything after 2 o'clock. She'd talk to you. I talk to her every other week, see what she's up to. And she said, I know Vishnu-devananda told you to go to Shivananda. I said, Vishnu-devananda is where it's at. So, how right is that, huh? And Swami Vishnu taught these people. These people are coming. I'm trying to get these people together. What I'd like to have is a reunion. Anybody from the 60s and 70s and the 80s that knew Swami Vishnu. We go to St. Jerome up in Valmoran, and buy the hotels or those bread and breakfast, buy the whole thing, rent it out to our people. I would even fly people there. $1 million organization. You got all these people paying money for TTC. I spend it on the people that built the place. Bring them all back. The Hare Krishnas have done that, and they had a couple hundred people the first year they did it. Now there's 5,000 people that come to that thing. It's big. And for what it's worth, I know that they have 10,000 cassettes of their Prabhupada that they've remastered and put up, and we might have 200. But I'll stay with our 200. I'm happy with that. We'll put links up on the this DVD, and if you need anything, if you want anything, if you're seeing this for the first time, just let me know. We'll see what we can do. And all the archives can be, and the spreadsheets, I can email you those, and you can get the DVDs, and you can just look at it. I'd recommend, it's 127 pages. Make a book out of it if you're interested. You just have the book in your lap, and you can go to play everything. And 13 gigabytes of, I'd have to ask the studio director how many hours that is, but it's, I don't know if it's 3 weeks worth of time to listen to everything that we have. It's a lot. So that's it from here, and have a good day, and thank you. We'll be around.